Just doing a few pre-flight checks, making sure we've got fluids and got oil where oil's meant to be and water where water's meant to be and not the other way around. Good afternoon everybody and welcome. A little bit different. Usually I start a video off in the morning, but I've actually done a pretty well a full day's spraying here at the barley. I think I have been calling it the other main farm, but I think that's the main farm up there, so it's only like 4 or 5 k's away. So I think we'll just, this property and that property is just the main farm now, just to simplify it a bit. But yeah, so this is the barley that went in. It was a little bit dry when we were putting it in, so yeah, it was a little bit hit and miss for a bit, but it's yeah, it's come up fairly well. Like you can see these little patches, it's a bit thin. This is actually where we did a trial the night before we started sowing, so that's why you can see some sort of not in the row there. They've punched through. So yeah, pretty well picked the worst patch to show you, but anyway, I'll just walk down here a bit further. But today I was just spraying yeah, a mixture that hopefully will deal with a few of the broadleaf weeds. There's the odd one, and there's a bit of a fungicide, and also this variety of barley is tolerant to a certain chemical that you can use. So normal barley or wheat or anything it'll kill, but this is tolerant to it. So yeah, I was able to spray it with that as well, and yeah, that'll tidy up any things like oats or other, yeah, just normal, any off sort of varieties of barley that have, or wheat or whatever, that's found its way in here. So yeah, it's again just a little bit patchy. Just that's the nature of when you're going a bit deeper, it can do this sort of thing, but majority of it is thickening up quite nicely. Oh, there's a broadleaf weed there, so that'll be got. But yeah, again, I'm in a pretty patchy spot. The rest of it is pretty good. So I'm actually going to head over to one of the new lease blocks, the north lease block. That's where my house is, and we're going to spray the linseed. Now we're just going to be spraying a grass spray for that, and then we'll come back, I don't know, might be a couple of weeks or so, and do a broadleaf spray. Might need to be that long. Even though certain chemicals won't kill a plant, the plant still has to process it. So if you hit it up with a too strong a brew, you're trying to get everything in one spray, it can knock the plants around, so we don't really want to do that. But yeah, there is a couple other things going on, so we'll keep you updated throughout the video. Well guys, this is what you call a bit of sloppy vlogging. I forgot to actually take any footage of the linseed at the north lease block. Yeah, that was, kind of got a bit distracted. Now the plan was to finish that up this morning, which I did, and then come back to the main farm here where we've got the barley I sprayed yesterday, and we'll spray where the cotton's going later in the year. But we've somehow ended up with a bit of a lake, and what's actually happened is my fault. I ran out of water in this tank, and I only had a couple of thousand litres left to put in the sprayer, but I ran out of water, and I just shut the pump off, all of that stuff, but I didn't turn the tap off fully. And because there was no water coming out and it was empty, I didn't know that the tap wasn't fully shut. So all night it's been watering everything else here. So that also means we don't have any water in the tank, and it's just a bit of a pain to go up to the next sort of water source and back and that. So what we're going to do is go to what we'll call a southern lease block. That's the new lease block that we yeah, just started this year. We're going to get organised, go down there, take the grasshopper to that block. It needs spraying, and yeah, that's basically what we're going to try and achieve today. Won't get it all sprayed today, but we'll get a bit of it done hopefully, and finish it off tomorrow, and then come back here when the tank's filled up, and yeah, then do this spraying. So it's a bit of everywhere, but I will try and remember to do a crop update. I'm thinking this video is going to be a bit more of a crop tour, because we will be going to the development block, and I might be able to show you the canola there quickly. and then I am heading up to the main farm where the shed is, so we can have a quick look at the wheat there. So anyway, we'll just go on our tour. Right, we'll do a quick stop here at the main farm. This is the wheat. This is actually the first paddock that we sowed, and yeah, it's going really well. It's got a bit of dew on it, so I'm going to get really wet legs. But yes, it is coming along nice and thick. You can barely see the ground anymore, so yeah, it should do really well. So yeah, we do have a bit of moisture down here. You can see that's all nice and wet there. So there, yeah, it's going. Couldn't ask for much better, really. It was a little bit of a concern at the start of all our sowing because it was quite dry and we had to go in it fairly deep. But this wheat, at least anyway, is handling it okay. The linseed's struggling a little bit, so we just have to keep an eye on it. There's a couple of patches that probably won't come up, but that's the same at both the north lease block and the south lease block. Yeah, just the thinner soil didn't cope with it too well. So anyway, so this was the Lancer wheat, and then right there you can see it goes a bit darker. That's the Hellfire. So the Hellfire wheat is looking really good, and the Lancer is too, but it's just the Hellfire seems to have a bit better colour for some reason. But yeah, and you can see on the little banks where the soil's been disturbed, it's yeah, slowly coming through, so that is good. Right, I've got to pick up the pump and some more chemical, and we're going on a road trip. Well, we made it. We're sneaking up to it now. It's good, there's green. It's definitely some linseed there. It's looking pretty good, really. Most of it. I'll get a bit more of an idea as I spray it. But yeah, no, it's looking reasonably even actually. I was probably expecting it to be a little bit more patchy, but I think further over where the yeah, soil's a bit lighter, I reckon it'll be a bit patchy, but this bit's looking good at least. Right, well, we got all set up here, ready to go. I'm just going to hop in with Brad, head back to the development block to get the grasshopper, bring that down, start spraying hopefully. Did actually just remember that we forgot the GPS base, which is not ideal, but we might just have to persevere today. See how we go. Just picking up the grasshopper, so just doing a few pre-flight checks, making sure we've got fluids and got oil where oil's meant to be, and water where water's meant to be, and not the other way around. So yeah, I think we should be good to go. Brad's I think he's got a bit of work to do to Tiny Tot, so he might even pick up the camera and yeah, continue on with that. But I'm not sure whether that'll be this video or a future video, but I'll figure that one out when I get there. Well guys, I'm just about ready to head off in the grasshopper. I've got a couple of drums of extra diesel up there because for any that have watched some previous episodes, I've developed quite a bad habit of running out of fuel in that thing. So we don't have any fuel down at that block, so hopefully that's enough to get the job done and get back here, but we'll have to see. But yeah, just before I do, we'll have a quick look at the canola here. We did have a smidgen of rain, I think a couple of mil, so it's a little damp, but yeah, it's filled in quite nicely. You can see some, like in the wheel tracks here, they've come up a bit later, a bit smaller, but they'll fill in, and yeah, it's looking quite thick. So this is probably a fairly good representative. There's some patches that are like this high, so another, nearly twice this height. You could barely walk through, but all in all, it's probably looks about at this stage. So it's yeah, coming along quite nicely. You can see the odd plant has even shot out a few flowers. So yeah, it's on its way. There's a bee on that and everything. Should do a nature documentary while I'm here. Anyway, I'm on my road trip. Right, we're back here at the south lease block, and I will just walk out here a little bit. So this was actually sown yeah, just before the north lease block, which I'd sprayed or finished spraying this morning. But yeah, it is probably a little bit more advanced, makes sense. But yeah, you can just see still struggled a bit where there's been a bit of disturbance of the soil. But this sort of thing looks really nice. It's nice and fairly even in the rows, all fairly uniform. So yeah, no, this is going really well. Up the other end, it's going to be a bit of a different story, I think. Actually, while I'm here, I will show you, if I find a good example, some of the chemicals we sprayed. Oh yeah, here's some here. So some of the chemicals we sprayed before we sowed were a residual chemical, like a pre-emergent spray. So what happens is you put a layer of that down, and then you got to incorporate it within a few hours with the obviously when you plant it. And this is why this is a good example of it working. So the spray chemical we used was targeting grass weeds, and you can see that we've got grass weeds here all in the row with the and even here in the row with the linseed. There's a good example there actually. You can see there's quite a lot of grass in the row, but there's no grass really in this bit, so that's all fairly clean. So what happens is that the chemical is all laid down, and then the tine of the planter comes through and flicks the dirt over, so that's all incorporated in here, that chemical. But obviously it creates a furrow, which you kind of need for the linseed to get through, because it probably would touch up the linseed a bit too, I'm not sure exactly, but that creates a furrow where the chemical isn't, just in a strip here, so the plant can get through. But also that means that the grass can get through as well, but it's more likely to struggle when it's in with the crop, because the crop or the linseed will be competing with it for moisture and sunlight and all of that. So yeah, it's just one of the tools to help. So anyway, I'm going to load up and we'll get spraying. Well, I didn't get too far and already we've got issues. I can't get the little Honda motor here to go. Funny thing is these little Honda motors are like probably the most reliable small motor you can get. But I will say this one did go through a bit of a flood, and yeah, Dad got it going again. But yeah, it's just we started it this morning before we brought it here, and it worked. Brought it here and it's not starting. I've drained the bowl, all that stuff. I'm just about to pull the plug out, see if I've got spark, and yeah, then start chasing that. It kind of seems more like a spark issue. reckon the spark plug isn't very happy. I do have a few bits and pieces in here. I should have a bit of... Oh, yep. Bit of emery tape. We also swapped those taps over. A couple of those were, well, one of them was a bit dodgy, so we swapped them over with plastic ones. Seemed to work a bit better for this sort of thing. Right, we've given that a clean. We'll, fingers crossed. Here we go. Well, there you go. Just a fouled up spark plug. These Honda motors, it's really, yeah, really rarely, we rarely have to touch them. This one's just been given a bit of trouble just since the flood and had a bit of water in it and all that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, anyway, interesting. Usually if they don't start on the first two pulls, you've either left the ignition off or yeah, there's an issue with the spark plug. But thankfully it wasn't a very hard fix, and it seems to be running quite smoothly actually, so that's good. Right, back to what I was doing. I'm about halfway through this load. I thought I'm just going to give up trying to talk in the cab. I still haven't fixed that squeaky seat. I've sprayed quite a few things, and yeah, for whatever reason it's still squeaking, so I don't want to offend your ears with that. But yeah, just I said I was going to hop out here where it's a little bit thinner or a bit lighter soil, and actually majority of the green you can see here right now is weeds, and yeah, which isn't great. But yeah, you can see the odd little linseed, but the rest of that is ryegrass. And again, you can see how well that chemical we sprayed just before we sowed it, because there's virtually nothing in the middle, but it's only on the furrows where the linseed's meant to be growing. That's where it's yeah, that's growing. But this spray I'm doing now should hopefully sort that out. And I think we're not 100% sure what's going on in this lighter soil. It's the same at the North Lease block with the linseed there. Linseed just is a little bit more finicky about coming up. You know, can't plant it too deep and that. So maybe it went in a bit too deep. Maybe with the sandier, lighter soil, just with the press wheels going over it, it packed it a bit too hard, made it hard for it to come through. We're just not sure, because it's come up beautifully in most of it, in 90% of the country, or probably more on this block. It's come up really nicely, but yeah, there's just this sort of thing, little sections. So it's just hard when you're in one paddock and you've got different soil types in the same run. Like, what do? You can't keep getting out to change the settings. You've got to sort of find that spot where it's going to do a bit of a job, or it's going to do an okay job in every soil condition. Whereas just with this situation here with this lighter stuff, we didn't quite get that result. Could be a lot worse. Well, I only got one load for the day here, but that's better than no loads. So I think yeah, I think I'm just going to run out of daylight because I don't have the GPS set up. I've got to basically follow the planting marks, and they're going to be pretty hard to see when the light goes down. So yeah, I'm just going to have to probably just try and get set up for the couple of hours left. Well, probably not even that, probably an hour and a half left in the day. I'll go back up, get the GPS set up, get it all ready so I can come down here first thing in the morning, and yeah, I should be able to finish this off tomorrow, and yeah, go from there. Well, good morning, guys. We are here at the South Lease block, and yeah, I'm back up here where I was supposed to put the base yesterday, but I forgot the base station for the GPS, so I've got it here with me now. But yeah, it is looking very nice up here. So we can see all this just green tinge here. That's all the linseed. Actually, there's a little yellow dot there, which is tiny one. He's still here. And then over here we've got more green tinge, which is also the linseed. So I sprayed the paddock right up the back yesterday, and this one just there. I'm going to have to spray all of that there, and all around here underneath this little hill here, and all over the other side. So I did spray about 40 hectares yesterday, and I've got another 120 something roughly to spray today, so I should be able to get that all done. But first things first, we're going to set up the GPS and get going. Right, well, we've got a flashing green light, so that means it should be okay. I don't think the sun will come out of the shade there a bit onto the solar panel, but I'm not too concerned because I probably didn't even really need a solar panel, to be honest. It's only for a day, but yeah, it's got its own regulator in underneath there, so I don't have to worry about cooking the battery like last time. But anyway, we'll head back down to the sprayer, get into it, and hopefully I can get some hectares done today. Well, just like that, we're all done. So that is very good. I think it's all gone really well actually. I didn't have any issues at all really, for once. Well guys, we'll probably leave the video there for now. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, just hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and we'll catch you in the next one.